With Halloween right around the corner, I wanted to make a quick video about a prop that I made last year. I actually made this just about a day or two before Halloween, so I didn't have time to make a how-to video or anything like that. And to be honest, I wasn't even sure it would work. It turns out it was friggin' awesome. So I do a haunted house every year in a garage, and I made this because I wanted a way to make a lot of noise and scare people without losing my voice, which I ended up doing anyway, but this turned out, it worked splendidly. It's extremely loud, and essentially it's a battery-powered air horn. It was about $35 in parts to make it, and that's assuming you have to buy everything and you don't already have an old drill that you can use. So at its base, it's an 18-volt rechargeable drill, so battery, drill. You take the chuck out, and then you fit it with a compressor and a horn. So this is an air horn kit that I got at Harbor Freight. They're about $15 before your coupon. And this is an 18-volt drill that I bought from Harbor Freight as well. They're $20 before any coupons. And I would recommend buying an extra battery as well, and they're like $12 or $13. But we'll get to that in a moment. So really quick explanation of how to do this. You need to take the drill apart, so you pop the battery out, undo the screws. On this particular drill, and probably many others, there's a screw hidden behind this label on this side, so don't forget about that one. It'll drive you crazy if you don't know it's there. You remove the chuck. To do that, I believe it was reverse threaded. There's a trick where you can like hit it really quick to break the nut loose. Just Google remove drill chuck to figure out how to do that. But you basically want to strip the drill apart so that you're left with the trigger and the light. And then essentially you take this compressor that comes in the air horn kit and you wire it to the trigger the same way that the motor was wired on the drill. So then essentially you have a variable speed trigger controlling your compressor. And I mentioned the light because I left it in just thinking maybe it would help blind people when I was trying to scare them. And it turns out it was extremely useful in the haunted house, because if you just pull the trigger a little bit, the siren doesn't go off, but the light comes on. And this was invaluable because you're walking around in the dark between groups and stuff and trying to find your way through the haunted house, and just having a little portable flashlight built into the thing you're already carrying was awesome. So just pull the trigger a little bit and you can see. So in a nutshell, you reassemble everything. You have your compressor motor wired up to the trigger, which is obviously connected to your 18-volt battery. You pull the trigger and it powers the motor, which pumps air through this little hose into the horn, and it makes a loud noise. Really loud noise. It's surprisingly loud. It's very startling. We scared a lot of people with this. A few notes. Let's see, what did I want to say about this? So this is a NiCad battery because it's part of a $20 cheap Harbor Freight drill. I will say, if I were to make one of these for a pro hunt, I'd absolutely buy a better drill with lithium-ion batteries. I'd get quite a few batteries and have a few chargers and have them lined up, because this battery did run down fairly quickly. We got several groups, I don't know, maybe 10 groups through, and we were using it a lot, but then the battery started to die. Luckily, I had thought ahead. I bought a spare battery and I already had it on the charger, and we managed to go the entire night by swapping it out, but we had to cut down on the use quite a bit on this, because as the battery dies, it starts to sound really wimpy, not scary at all. So a drill with heavy-duty batteries and a lot of batteries is highly recommended if you're going to do this, especially for a haunted house that goes 3 or 4 hours, and you're going to be using it all night long, pretty much continuously. When I assembled it, again, I did it kind of quick and dirty. The way that the compressor mounts is essentially you get a bolt with like a hex head on it, and then there's a little slotted groove here at the bottom. Well, I drilled a little pilot hole in the top of the drill between the two halves, got a nut started on the back, which was a little tricky, and got it tightened to the right amount so that when I slid this on, it holds it nice and firm, and you could still pull it off if you wanted to, but it's not going to fall off by just carrying it around and using it. Similar approach to mounting the horn itself. I just did it on the side through some of these, right by some of these vents. This kit actually came with 2 horns and a splitter, so you could technically have 1 horn on each side. I was in a bit of a time crunch. I didn't see any reason to have 2 horns because it works just fine with 1, so I went with 1. So really, this turned out to be a great prop. $35, $40 investment. It took a few hours to put it together, and it was worth its weight in scares, because it's extremely startling when you're walking through a dark haunted house and somebody comes out of nowhere and puts this thing in your face. Lots of startles, lots of jumps, and it runs off of chargeable batteries, so you can keep swapping them out, which is nice. Now, there are a few companies that make professional grade haunt air horns that have built-in compressors or have like a tank that you pre-pressurize. I thought about doing something along those lines. I didn't want to buy one because they're like $700 or $800, whereas I built this for $40 and it worked just fine. I like how compact this is, running on the battery powered versus trying to get like a 5-gallon air tank and pre-pressurizing it and carrying that around. I think that's better for like a fixed location, but this is great for portability. So we might actually be making a few more of these for this year because it was such a huge success last year. We were actually passing it around to everybody. So like I'd use it in one spot and then I'd hand it off to the next guy because it just scared everybody. It just really startled them. In terms of dollar for dollar scares in our haunted house, this is towards the top of the list. This is up there with air cannon. I'd say we got a lot more scares with this than we have with our drop panel. So this is similar to an air cannon, but people can carry it around and jump out with it, which is awesome. So highly recommend making some of these for your haunted house if that's the kind of thing you're into. And if I do make another one, I'll try to post some pictures or a how-to video when I'm actually putting it together, but it's pretty straightforward. Open up the drill, take the motor out, solder a couple wires to the leads that were going to the motor, hook them to this compressor, find a way to bolt it to the frame of the drill, get the horn mounted to the frame of the drill, run the little plastic line, and you're good to go. So that is that. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, or subscribe, and happy haunting.